All right, let's go to their next album in, was it 2002, which was Does This Look Infected? We
The
started with
answer is yes.
oh god. We started with Kyle. We're gonna jump over to Mike for a sec. Mike, talk to me. Did you initial impressions, overall thoughts on Does This Look Infected, the second album by Sum 41, and standout tracks as well when you get a chance?
Yeah, for sure. So now, this album, I think I took hold of a lot of those more aggressive riffs and the things that I was actually looking for. I began to kind of like, I didn't want to admit it to my friends because I was like, yeah, Sum 41 sucks, bro, right? And I'm like, yeah, man, screw that band. They're like, yeah. And then like when they walked away, I'm like, yo, actually, a couple of those songs are actually pretty good. And they're like, what'd you say? I'm like, no, I said they suck and they're dumb, And then they walk away. I'm like, yeah, but I actually admit this has got some good songs. So like, I was kind of that's how I felt about this band. And then once I get to this album, my favorite song of all time of theirs is Still Waiting. Absolutely. It is my favorite song. And the riffing to this day, my buddy Jay used to be my buddy. He would like freaking rag on this band, and I would be like, dude, Still Waiting has some of the coolest like riffing in it that just it's just so good. So good. And then the Hell Song is awesome. And it's definitely got some other kinds of tracks in here that I really liked. Once again, it kind of did a little bit of this, like we're trying to be punk and prove ourselves kind of stuff. But now it's a weird thing about this album. I found myself changing the song in my head the way I wanted the song to go, and it didn't go that way. And I freaking hate when that happens. Like when I hear a chorus and I expect it to go into a higher part and change the melody a little bit, but instead they just kind of come back down and then repeat again. I was doing that when I was listening to this album, and it's the number one reason why I didn't rate it as high, because I found myself just like almost singing the choruses different in my own head, and saying, wow, that would have sounded so much better, but they went this way. And that's crazy to me because like I'm not a self-proclaimed musical genius, but sometimes I can really hear where they just took a left when they should have took a right. And for me, this album's got some strong tracks. It's definitely got that beginning of that metal riffing going on. You can hear it. And it's the Things to Come album, and it definitely has a lot of kind of picks up where All Killer No Filler left off, but adds a little more balls to it, I guess you could say.
Pretty good assessment. Kyle, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. This is very much the album that showed really where the band would go after this. For the most part, there is definitely still more pop punk leanings in some of their later work, but this is really where you start to see they're bringing in those more aggressive guitar riffs. They're bringing in that more, pretty much all the skate punk is gone by the time we get to this album. It's very much less your like Blink 182 skate punk type pop punk, and more into, all right, we're done with this, we're going to get a little bit more aggressive with it, but they still manage to keep it fun. They keep that pop punk funness on a lot of the album, which I appreciate. When I look at this album, I'm very much impressed with how far the sound came from All Killer No Filler when this one was only released a year later.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. And to me, it just makes me wonder if this is kind of what they were wanting to do anyway. And maybe like a label was like, no, you should do this. Again, speculation. I have no idea. But the work after this would lead me to assume that might not be too far off. In terms of the songs themselves, I mean, songs like the Hell Song, Over My Head, My Direction, Still Waiting, though that first 4 songs is one of the best run of tracks on any pop punk album. What a way to start the album. But then Thanks for Nothing is a huge standout track for me. And while I'm surprised that they didn't go the route of having Thanks for Nothing be a single, because it's very similar to Fat Lip, has kind of the same vibe going on, I appreciate that they didn't do it. because it could have easily been a cop out, like, all right, we're going to follow the success of Fat Lip with Thanks for Nothing, and it would have probably done very well. So I appreciate that they didn't do that. Again, they continue their incredible single choice. As I said, most of my top songs were the singles that were released off of it. In terms of low points, I don't think there is one. I think it's a pretty great album all the way through. I have no complaints about it. If anything, I really enjoyed where they decided to take their sound, and yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. Not a single bad song, and a second album in a row with no filler on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all, dare I say, we're all in unison here. It's like it's actually pretty funny. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, for me, go again. You're talking about a year later. A year later, this album comes out from their debut album in 2002, and immediately you could definitely hear the sound changes. You could definitely hear the styles that they want to go in, and how they're going to go in that direction at some point down the line in future albums. But I agree with both of you. Like, this was definitely a very quick, with still pop punk vibes in there, but definitely a very quick transition within a year of their first album coming out, and having so much success from the singles and the popularity of the first album, going into this one, you definitely hear, all right, you enjoyed that. Now we're going to go this way. We're going this direction now, and it's going to be a little different, but we're going to go this way, and we're going to chart our own path. Can I just point out that the album cover is freaky as hell, but it's actually so badass at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's frightening. It's like, for those of you who are listening to us, it's a guy. If you just look up Sum 41 Does This Look Infected, it's a guy cutting his head with like a knife. It's crazy, little frightening. When I was going through it, I was like, oh my god. I was just staring at this thing on my phone. I'm like, okay.
It's the drummer, right? Is that the drummer?
Is it?
I think
That's
so.
all. Yeah, I was about to say I recognize his face, but yeah, I believe it's the drummer wearing. I don't know if he's
Wearing like a mask. Yeah.
something weird. Yeah.
Mask or makeup or something. Yeah. But I mean, my standout tracks, honestly, are the first 4 songs, very similar to Kyle. Hell Song, Over My Head, Better Off Dead, My Direction, Still Waiting. And that's no slur to the rest of the album, because the rest of the album is pretty damn good as well. I mean, other than this, like, I mean, it sounds like, like I said, like a cop. Oh, let's go to the singles release because those are the best songs. Well, in this case, the best songs were the first. In my opinion, the best songs were the first 4 songs. I mean, the Hell Song, Over My Head, My Direction, is Still Waiting. I mean, come on, you cannot get any more of a badass opening on an album than that.
I actually didn't like My Direction, by the way. I just want to note as the villain.
Really?
I wanted to make sure I actually wanted to make sure I've rained on your guys' parade, and not to do it on purpose, but
no, that makes sense, because it definitely is one of the more pop punk sounding songs on here.
Yeah.
So if you didn't really vibe too much with All Killer No Filler, that's probably the closest they come on here to that sound.
Yeah, like, and then middle, I kind of was like, and then like Mr. Amsterdam, Thanks for Nothing, Hyper Insomnia, Parachondroid, whatever the hell that freaking is. Sounds like something I freaking picked up disease or something over here somewhere. But yeah, like, it's literally that's where I kind of came back and was like, cool, like it had a good finish. And but yeah, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of that song, and it was just interesting because, like Kyle said, it has like a little more of a pop punk thing, which I've never been a huge fan of. But if you combine pop punk with the right elements of other things, I won't get too burned out too quickly on that. That's big for me. I'm always a balanced kind of listener, you should say. So.
Thank you for stealing my thunder and basically summing up everything that I was going to say, Mike. Thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
Just straight up. But the question is, gentlemen, where does This Look Infected rank on your Sum 41 list? Let's start with Mike. Where does this rank for you?
Man, this is number 2 for me. I mean, this is the pretty much. So if someone would ask me, hey, what albums have you heard of Sum 41? I would have to say All Killer No Filler, Does This Look Infected. That's it. I hadn't listened to one other album until this kind of career retrospective kind of like overlook of their albums. So like everything after this point, oh, I mean Chuck, I knew of the song "We're All to Blame," but I didn't ever listen to that album, and then everything else past that, I didn't even think they were still making music. To be honest with you, and you know, obviously I looked into it and knew it, but yeah. So yeah, so I'd have to say number two. It's just it's nostalgic for me, more nostalgic than even the first album. In that I'd never listened to that album. You know, I never owned it, but I did own this album. So yeah, that's number two. It's got to be there.
All right, Kyle, what do you got? Where does this Look Infected rank for you personally?
Oh, I am thrilled to say that me and Mike are in complete agreement on this. This is also my number two. It is
Woo!
a step in the direction of a more mature sound than they had on the last one, and I think it's fantastic. I would definitely point, like Mike said, you know, people ask, I want to hear Sum 41, like give me an album. This is probably one of the first ones I'm giving them. Excellent album, number two.
See, after everything I just said, I absolutely have to disappoint all of you guys and put it. I'm just kidding. No. I got you so good. This is my number two as well, believe it or not. I don't worry. I was not gonna hate it. I was not gonna be the villain on that one. Don't worry. Sorry, everyone. No,
Damn it.
I know. Sorry, Mike. Damn it. I know. But this is my number two as well. Just a solid record overall. You definitely saw based on everything we were saying as well. You see the transition points they're going to go to. You see where they're headed in their next album, which we're going to get to in a second. But that is my number two personally for me. Now let's jump over to their third album.
You guys hear that noise? That
What's
was
that noise?
everyone clicking off this video because all killer no filler. And
Not number one.
are you infected? Is this infected? Are not number one and number two. I just I don't know what's going on. But hopefully,
What's going on, everyone?
Stay tuned and hear the fun finale. It's worth it, guys. It's worth it. Play chicken.
Oh God.